Ladies and gentlemen, please stand.
Please remain standing for the national anthem.
Please be seated. Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, Host Principal, Professor Brian Copeland, and other campus principals, Pro-Vice Chancellors, members of the Senior Executive of the University of the West Indies and staff, Honorary Graduate, Professor Dermot Kelleher, Professor Christine Carrington, the Public Orator, Committee Member of the UWI Alumni Association, Trinidad and Tobago Chapter, Dr. Jordan Lamorel, and other members of the association, President of the Student Guild, Darian Narain, and student leaders, valedictorian, Ms. Vadena Prasad, most especially the graduating class of 2018, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your graduation. I hope you're delighted to be here at last. I understand graduating from the Faculty of Medical Sciences, in fact, is a breeze. All of you all seem to get through the exams and get your degrees without any difficulty. Well, you have all of that behind you, and you have a wonderful life ahead of you. Today is a time for you to have fun, enjoy yourself with your family and your friends, and bask in your own glory. I know from personal experience that as a parent, this is one of the happiest days of your life. I thought it also meant that my children will start taking care of me from today. Rest assured, it doesn't work out like that. I'll keep my remarks as brief as possible, but there are three issues I want to raise with you. The first is how fortunate you are to be graduating at this time. The second is how important it is for you to become environmentally conscious. And the third is that there is a critical need for you to see opportunity and grasp it when it presents itself. You are graduating at a time of much hope and excitement. Technology is rapidly expanding your world, particularly in medicine. What is impossible today will be easy tomorrow. In spite of whatever fears you may have of the immediate future or what lies ahead, you are entering a wonderful period of your life, and at a time when the world provides enormous opportunity. We at the University of the West Indies are celebrating our 70th anniversary, having started in 1948 with 33 medical students like yourselves, a set of donated medical textbooks, and some old barrack buildings at Mona. We have grown into a regional institution of nearly 50,000 undergraduates and graduate students. Today, your university is recognized amongst the best in the world. This should give you the confidence that the education that you have received is as good as any, and that you are properly prepared for the tasks ahead. You are capable of anything that you put your mind to. You're only limited by your ambition and the size of your dreams. The age of technology has opened doors to you that did not exist in the past. Technology flattens the playing field. It is egalitarian in its nature. Anyone could access it. It does not ask your gender, your age, your race, your religion. You simply can use it. It, however, calls for an adjustment in your thinking. No longer can you limit yourself to your island home. You need to adjust your mind to the thought that you are part of a much larger community of 6 billion people, many of whom are already connected with you. And that you must embrace becoming global citizens. This creates an enormous opportunity to fulfill your ambitions. We are no longer tied to our physical location, but rather we are already able to live in a global space, especially in your field of study, particularly so. The challenge is to adjust to this global culture, where we have to find people with common values who we can work together with. At the same time, we need to be sensitive to our differences in order to maximize our similarities. Those of us that can overcome this hurdle are destined to succeed. Climate change is our crisis. Many of us have seen firsthand this week its devastating effects on our communities. Many of our students, maybe some of you, and their families, as well as faculty and staff, were adversely affected, some of them having lost all of their possessions. We looked on in horror at our fellow citizens sitting on rooftops waiting for relief, and others being rescued by boat. We also saw an outpouring of generosity and kindness, which are a hallmark of our country. Hurricanes are becoming more severe and the rainfall more intense. No amount of box drains or watercourses could have dealt with the volume of rainfall in such a short space of time. There is no guarantee that what we witnessed was a freak incident and that it will not happen again. We cannot afford for this to be our future. You as medical students are only too well aware of what the dangers are of extensive flooding in our community. We must take climate change as a personal challenge, as it will affect each of us eventually. It's easy to say that one person can make little difference, but this is not true. If we become engaged, we will collectively make an immense difference. We need, as a nation, to support and encourage renewable energy projects. Trinidad and Tobago, as a consequence of its petrochemical industries, is on a per capita basis a leading emitter of greenhouse gases. To compensate for this, we need to do everything possible to reduce our emissions from other sources, such as the generation of electricity and automobiles. We need to find innovative ways to recycle and reduce our plastic waste, which at present pollutes our watercourses and eventually ends up in the sea. Between oil spills and plastic waste, we are destroying our marine environment and the food source that it supports. We must preserve our environment because it is that environment that supports our life and allows us the privilege of living on this beautiful island. We cannot, on the one hand, say we love TNT and at the same time take part in destroying its environment. I've often heard young people say that there is not enough opportunity in Trinidad and Tobago. I've even seen articles in the newspapers which recounts the difficulty doctors have in finding employment. Well, I think it's an oxymoron. Unemployed doctors seems quite incongruous to me. The reality is that too often we define our future and the opportunities that we want for ourselves too narrowly. And unless things happen according to our own particular strategic plan for ourselves, we are not willing to open our minds to other opportunities that may present themselves. Do not allow yourself solely to be boxed into the field in which you studied. Let that be your starting point. Maintain a high degree of curiosity in everything and everyone. The Faculty of Medical Science, I'm told, is the most difficult faculty to get into at the University of the West Indies. So you represent some of the most intelligent people of your generation. And as a consequence, you will have the most opportunity of any particular group. Opportunity often stares you in the face, and you fail to recognize it. Sometimes it is packaged differently to what we had expected. Often it presents itself at a very inconvenient time. Beware of passing up opportunity, as there is no guarantee that it will come to you again. Grab it and hold on with all your strength. In summary, you are the luckiest of generations. Your future lit bright by rapidly developing technology. It will fall on you to solve the greatest challenge of our time, climate change. An opportunity will present itself to each of you in many forms. Keep an open mind. Do not miss these opportunities. Go out and mold the countries of your dreams. Allow nothing to stand in your way. You have the education, the intelligence, and the youth. Think large. You can do it. We are met today in order that we may mark by a formal ceremony the entry of certain of our members into the company of graduates and the academic achievement of others. As a university, we are an academic society of undergraduates, bachelors, masters, and doctors, and we follow the academic tradition in pursuit of knowledge and the encouragement of learning, purposes which are laid down in the preamble of the Royal Charter by which we have been granted the powers needful for the prosecution of our affairs. In pursuing these aims, our members advance from time to time to a higher standing in the academic community, and it is proper that as a body, we should celebrate their achievement. It is marked by the granting of a degree or diploma or certificate, and we rejoice with our graduates on their advancement.
Chancellor, I now ask the public orator, Professor Christine Carrington, to present Professor Dermot Keller, whom the Senate and the Council of the University have been pleased to recommend for the award of the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa.
Chancellor, once upon a time in Ireland, there lived a little family of 5. Dad, a chemical engineer, Mum, an art teacher, and the 3 children looked much like everyone else around. But something was different. Their food, for example, was uncommonly spicy, and they regularly hosted unusually lively gatherings with strange, exotic music, often featuring metal drums. Some neighbors even claimed that the music made references to cannibalism, obeah men, and loose women with names like Jean and Dinah, Rosita and Clementina. They blamed the mother. She was from Trinidad, and apparently she couldn't help it. On the plus side, she was wonderful with people and passionate about her children's education. To everyone's delight, despite their mother's peculiar habits and their very unusual upbringing, the children turned out quite well. One of those children, Professor Dermot Kelleher, stands before us today, an extraordinary scientist and clinician, renowned for his pioneering research, transformative medical leadership, innovation, and entrepreneurship. He is a Fellow of the Academy of Medical Sciences and Royal College of Physicians, London, and of Trinity College, Dublin, and the American Gastroenterology Association. He was also the 2011 recipient of the prestigious Conway Medal from the Royal Academy of Medicine, Ireland. Dr. Kelleher gained first-class honors in medicine at Trinity College, Dublin in 1978, a rare feat at the time. Inspired by his mentor, Professor Donald Ware, he specialized in gastroenterology, training first in Dublin and then as a 1986 Fogarty Scholar at the University of California. In 1989, he returned to Trinity College as a Wellcome Senior Fellow in Clinical Science, earning his MD in 1994. 7 years later, he was appointed to the Trinity College Chair in Clinical Medicine. Dr. Kelleher's research, which has generated over 300 publications to date, has focused on mechanisms underlying inflammatory diseases of the gastrointestinal tract. Innovation, entrepreneurship, and the ability to move basic research findings from the laboratory bench to the bedside have been hallmarks of his career. For example, his identification of mechanisms by which Helicobacter pylori, a major cause of ulcers, protects itself from the immune system, led to an effective vaccine licensed to the Chiron Corporation. He has patented inventions in the areas of diagnostics, drugs, and nanofluidics through spin-out companies. These include Opsona Therapeutics, for which he was co-founder, which develops drugs and vaccines, Dirac Fluidics, now merged with LabSite and Celix, both global leaders in micro and nanoliter liquid handling systems for the life sciences industries. Dr. Kelleher has repeatedly demonstrated that the key to accelerating this so-called translational research is working in multidisciplinary settings, and he was central to the creation of a number of institutes and networks that bring together engineers, physicists, chemists, biologists, and academic clinicians. These include the Institute of Molecular Medicine at Trinity College Dublin, the Wellcome Trust HRB Clinical Research Facility at Trinity College Dublin and St. James Hospital, and the new medical school building as part of the Trinity Biomedical Sciences Institute. He was also one of the co-founders of the Dublin Molecular Medicine Centre, which led to the creation of Molecular Medicine Ireland, a consortium of Irish universities and their associated academic hospitals. Like his mentor, Dr. Kelleher combines excellent medical research and practice with great leadership. He is currently Dean of the Faculty of Medical Sciences and Vice President for Health at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada. His previous roles include serving as head of the School of Medicine and Vice Provost for Medical Affairs at Trinity College Dublin, Director at Adelaide and Meath Hospital in Dublin, and more recently, Dean of the Faculty of Medicine at Imperial College London and Dean of the Lee Kong Chian School of Medicine in Singapore. Chancellor, being a successful dean is a noteworthy achievement, but Dr. Kelleher is clearly a bit of an overachiever. He was Dean of Imperial College and the Lee Kong Chian simultaneously on 2 continents. Furthermore, during his tenure, he oversaw the renewal of Imperial's designation as one of only 5 academic health sciences centres in the UK, and led the teams that secured Imperial College's highest ever ranking in the Research Excellence Framework. Dr. Kelleher is also a member of the London Health Commission and has founding membership of MedCity, a collaboration between the Mayor of London, Imperial College, King's College, and University College London, aimed at promoting life sciences investment, entrepreneurship, and industry. He has served as president of the Federation of European Academies of Medicine and is a non-executive director of ICON plc, one of the leading global clinical research organizations. On top of all this, Dr. Kelleher fancies himself as a premier footballer, having represented Ireland in the 2015 and 2016 World Medical Football Federation Championships. He has not yet scored a winning goal, but I have no doubt that he will get there. After all, his motto is, "Never take no for an answer." By this, he doesn't persist by banging his head against walls. Instead, he finds creative ways around them. So, when his Irish Medical Federation football team no longer wanted him, he just joined the Masters team. Dr. Kelleher recognizes that having a great team is key to success. And in addition to his many collaborators, he credits his wife, Jean, his children, the Fagenbaums, and the rest of his Trini family for their unwavering support. And last but not least, all the spicy food, tropical music, patience, kindness, and love from his inspirational Trini mother. Chancellor, I present Professor Dermot Kelleher and ask that by the authority vested in you by the Council and Senate of the University of the West Indies, you confer on him the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa.
By the authority vested in me by the Senate and Council of the University of the West Indies, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa of the University of the West Indies. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I now call on Professor Dermot Kelleher to deliver the graduation address.
Chancellor, Mr. Robert Bermudez, Vice-Chancellor, Sir Hilary Beckles, Principal and Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Brian Copeland, our other campus principals and Pro-Vice Chancellors, the University Orator, Professor Carrington, members of the University of the West Indies Senior Management Team, graduates and guests. And among those guests, I'd like to particularly welcome my family, my wife Jean, my cousins Paul, Bruce and Wayne, and my Aunt Brenda, who it's wonderful to see here today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm currently the Dean of the Medical Faculty and Vice President for Health at the University of the British Columbia. But it's a wonderful honour to be here today and to be conferred with an honorary doctorate by the University of the West Indies, a university that's now celebrating its 70th year. I was born in the UK, as Professor Carrington has said, to an Irish father and a Trinidadian mother, Phyllis Kelman. But I grew up and spent most of my life in Ireland, in a small town by the sea called Greystones, just south of Dublin. I went to public schooling, initially in a class of 55 kids, where me and my siblings stood out for a number of reasons. Firstly, as Professor Carrington has said, we ate different food. We ate curry and rice, and at that time in Ireland, people only ate rice as rice pudding for dessert. Secondly, my mother would also occasionally find mangoes and other exotic fruits, and we all look forward to Christmas, particularly for garlic pork and the black cake that would arrive in a tin from Trinidad. It would take about 60 days to get there, so it was absolutely delicious by the time it came. The second area that stood out for us as children was music, because we listened to steel pan music, as we heard already today, and we also listened particularly to the Mighty Sparrow on a big old gramophone at home, often at very loud volumes. I suspect that my mother was just like your mothers. She was absolutely convinced of the value of education. And along the way, I went from this class of 55 kids in a public school, where many of my classmates left school at 14 and did not continue education, to a class of about 30 in high school, and then on to studying medicine in a small class of about 64 at the 400-year-old, very ancient university, Trinity College Dublin. What an amazing place. And within our overall family, there are a few other health representatives. My cousin Paul studied dentistry and practices in Trinidad. His two brothers are orthopedic surgeons and his sister studied nursing. And there are other people who are in the health professions in the family, including a few medics in the next generation, including my own son, Sean. But one of the most transformational events in my life occurred when my Trinidadian cousin, David, who's a surgeon, and his late wife, Anne-Marie, invited me to do an elective at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, a place where I truly discovered the academic method of questioning and researching all that you do, using the literature and evidence to determine what is best for your patients, a process of constant questioning. I returned then to Trinity College in Dublin to finish my final year in medical school with a very different approach, one that saw me taking out a bunch of subscription to medical journals, one that had me reading the literature continually, and one which eventually led me to this academic life. That principle of lifelong learning, we didn't call it that back then, but that was essentially what I started upon at that time. So my first message to you all as a graduating class is to always remember and be proud of where you come from. The kids in my junior school that I attended who left school at 14 still haunt my memories. I know that some of them could have done what I have done if they had the opportunities. You all have had the most wonderful gift from your parents and from the University of the West Indies, the gift of education, and most importantly, an education in the biomedical sciences. Medicine, dentistry, veterinary, optometry, whichever, nursing, whichever you are studying, this is the most important gift. And what is it about studying medicine and other health disciplines? Well, these are truly the most magical of professions. This is a life where no 2 days in your future are going to be the same, where every day when you wake up, you know that your life is dedicated to improving the life of others. And nothing can be better than that. It's a life where knowledge, intuition, and compassion combine. None of these are sufficient in themselves. Most importantly, it's a life of constant questioning. You may be fortunate to get the opportunity to ask questions through research, and indeed some of you have already had that opportunity. This is truly wonderful. But you won't do badly if every day, when you see your patients, you constantly question why this case is different from the last case you saw, how the patient's social status is influencing their disease, why this patient and their sibling have the same unusual cardiac arrhythmia or rash or other syndrome. Keep questioning, and I'm including veterinary students in this particular point as well. The critical importance of continually questioning what you see, because you never know when what you see in your clinic, in your practice, may be something that may be of importance to the world. I've been very fortunate to have pursued an academic medical career that has combined laboratory and clinical research. As Professor Carrington has said, I had an outstanding mentor, Professor Donald Weir, early in my career, who was a good friend of a Trinidadian physician called Courtney Bartholomew, by the way. And but he took a keen interest in my development, and I went from Dublin then to San Diego and back again, became the professor of medicine, head of school at Trinity, and finally, after all of the machinations that Professor Carrington has noted, I became dean at University of British Columbia. But in my last year at Trinity College, we celebrated the medical school's 300-year anniversary. And that 300-year anniversary was based on a date in 1711 where the professors at the time met in a coffee shop in Dublin. 1711. Who knew that there were coffee shops around in 1711? But there were apparently a lot of coffee shops in Dublin. And at that meeting, they decided on the standards for the examinations of medical students, the same kind of process that goes on today. And that brought home to me, that 300-year anniversary, the fact that we are all standing on the shoulders of giants, that knowledge and experience are passed on continually, and that in all of our health domains, we have an extraordinary and unique opportunity to pass on the knowledge that we gain. That's a unique connection to the past. And when you think about it, it goes back to all those wonderful words of Hippocrates and others and beyond. We're connected to that continuing lifelong tradition. Along the way, I've had the opportunity to work with so many wonderful people, to ask fundamental research questions, and most importantly, to see students graduate in 3 different continents, and to reflect on the fundamental basis of my life experience. And that is, put simply, that my Trinidadian mother's belief that education was the greatest gift that a parent can bestow. She would be so pleased today to witness this wonderful occasion. So I ask you, as graduates, to applaud your parents, your grandparents, and your families. Remember, throughout your lives, that it's because of them that you are what you are and where you are, and right now, it's here receiving your degrees. So I think and to the families. And later, when all this fuss is over, just have a quiet chat and thank them personally. Please do, for this wonderful gift that they've given you. And I know that up there, the parents are thinking, now, they're off the payroll. And as the father of a recent medical graduate, I can say, dream on. There's a quote that's sometimes wrongly attributed to the Irish poet Yeats, but really goes back to ancient Rome, which is that education is not the filling of a bucket, but it's the lighting of a flame. I've always loved this quote because it speaks to the power of knowledge and to the importance of those that impart it with passion and enthusiasm. Your teachers and your mentors here at this wonderful university who have brought you here today and have launched you on this springboard of this exciting life. Studying medicine and the biomedical sciences has always had 2 sides to it. Firstly, as the Chancellor has said, I think you'll agree that there's a lot of hard work. But secondly, and this may be a secret to your parents and families, biomedical students always seem to have a lot of fun in their journey through the university and beyond. And part of that fun, for me, as a young man, was listening to the music of Winston Bailey, The Mighty Shadow. Whenever we put his music on the turntable in Dublin, everyone would start to dance. And I was very excited to hear that I would have the opportunity to meet with him today, and very saddened by his passing. So can I say thank you to The Mighty Shadow, Winston Bailey, for some very happy times, and may he rest in peace. So lastly, today, after you're celebrating all that you've achieved, after you throw your hats in the air, I'd like to ask you also to reflect and look back on what inspired you and what brought you here today. Maybe you were inspired by a physician, or a nurse, or a vet, or a dentist, or any other health professional, or a patient, or sometimes by a family member who is ill. But no matter who or what ultimately compelled you to embark on this journey, you did so because you were inspired to serve and to care. And this journey is never about you. It's always about serving others. As we look ahead, we must consider first and foremost our capacity to positively impact our patients, and then our capacity to impact on society. This contract with society that we espouse as health professionals is a living contract. It's intended to remind us that every day as educators, researchers and professionals, we serve the people of our communities and indeed the world. And so, as you transition to become practicing professionals in whichever discipline you choose, pause often to acknowledge that with this graduation in honor comes a graduation in responsibility. You must always put the patient first in all that you do in that most respectful way. and that applies to all health disciplines. You continue to build on your skills, to acquire new knowledge, and remember to serve as a true mentor to the students who come after you. That's a principle that goes back to Hippocrates and beyond. As the Chancellor said, keep your sense of curiosity, keep asking questions. Above all, be driven by that larger commitment to contribute to your field and to society as a whole. To wherever your journey as a health professional takes you, I wish you all the best on the road ahead, and my deepest congratulations. You have chosen to work in the most fulfilling professions of all. Thank you very much indeed.
Chancellor, the persons whose names will be called, having studied in the University of the West Indies and having fulfilled the requirements of the University of the West Indies, beg leave to be presented to you and to the Senate of the University by the representative of the Faculty of Medical Sciences as Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery, or Bachelors of Science, Dental Hygiene, Dental Therapy, or Nursing, or Optometry, or Pharmacy, or Doctor of Dental Surgery, or Veterinary Medicine, or diplomas of this university. Sir, the representative of the Dean of the Faculty of Medical Sciences, Professor Michael Ramdas.
Sir, my colleagues and I ask you to receive as graduate members of our society these persons present who have fulfilled the requirements of the university, have been admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery, or Bachelors of Science, Dental Hygiene, Dental Therapy, or Nursing, or Optometry, or Pharmacy, or Doctor of Dental Surgery, or Veterinary Medicine, or diplomas of this university.
By the authority vested in me, I receive these persons whose names are about to be called as graduate members of our society.
Doctor of Dental Surgery, Dominique Batiste. Lana Bewaji, distinction. Lana Dial Singh, honors. Megan Thorpe, honors. Kevon Tuit. Juvi Voisin, distinction. Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, Falima.
I now call upon Ms. Vandan Prasad, Bachelor of Science Optometry, upper second class honors, to deliver the valedictory address.
Chancellor, Mr. Robert Bermudez, Vice Chancellor, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, Host Principal, Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Brian Copeland, and other campus principals, Pro Vice Chancellors, graduating class of 2018. Good afternoon. At the start of our academic journey, we were all taught to envision the future, think about where we want to be, what we want to accomplish, and how we plan to get there. Today we are gathered to celebrate the completion of an important chapter in our lives. While achieving this feat was by no means a simple undertaking, we are just about over the finish line, heads staring up to our respective God, our bodies and minds somewhat exhausted but still racing, all in anticipation of the celebrations yet to come, and rightly so. Fellow graduates, let's give ourselves a much-deserved round of applause. We've certainly come a long way. To our professors, demonstrators, and external supervisors, we could not have done this without your guidance, and we, the class of 2018, salute you, our academic leaders. Each of us has a unique reason as to why we decided to be an optometrist, a doctor, nurse, vet, dentist, or a pharmacist. And for many of us, this is not the end of our academic journey, but rather the start. Throughout our time at UWI, we've been taught to think creatively, question the seemingly obvious for hidden truths that lay beneath the surface, and to always push in order to discover our better self. These are the same lessons that have led me to the point at which I am now compelled to implore you, my fellow graduates, colleagues, classmates, and lifelong friends, to never settle for only the path now before us. While many of us need the post-grad employment, once we get a handle on our lives, it is truly up to each and every member of the medical sciences fraternity sitting before me here to do all that is necessary to advance their respective field to the highest level attainable. I dare say it's our duty. We as healthcare professionals have a duty of care to our profession, our patients, and the institutions that we serve. I have led my academic life by one simple rule: never be mediocre, never settle. It is this same attitude I believe we should strive to adopt as we enter the professional world. Our healthcare system is seemingly riddled by institutional inefficiencies, and while it is easy to lose morale, the last thing our patients need is professionals who have become comfortable in their positions and have let mediocrity creep its way into patient care. Aim to master your craft every day. Examine issues facing the profession and think creatively for solutions. We must get involved to better our healthcare system. More importantly, we must all work together as a cohesive unit in order to bring about the change that we want to affect. Every single one of us sitting here has a niche in the health sector, which makes us all equally important and valuable. We have spent a lot of time together with our respective classes over the last few years. We've made friends, driven each other crazy on occasion, struggled together, and most importantly, succeeded together. You see, regardless of the discipline that we chose to pursue, we have all shared many similar experiences. This is why I want to challenge us to always remember that we have a shared goal now, which is to improve the state of healthcare in our country and, by extension, our region. In that regard, there's one topic that seems to be a bit taboo in our country, and I believe that having completed such a rigorous course load and being a part of the healthcare system, it is only right to make mention of it: mental health awareness. I urge us all to become advocates and to be our brother's keeper, but most importantly, please take care of yourselves. In order to perform at our best, it is crucial that we do what is necessary to maintain a healthy well-being. We owe this to our patients, but we also owe it to ourselves. The lecturers and professors of the Faculty of Medical Sciences are simply unmatched. Your wealth of knowledge, experience, and skills have all helped to mold us into the young professionals that we are. I certainly hope that going forward, we're able to marry theory and the practical skills as seamlessly as you all made it appear. We, the graduating class of 2018, sincerely thank you for the continued mentorship and support over the years. To our friends, family, and loved ones, your support has been invaluable throughout these years. Thank you for your words of encouragement and for dealing with our stressful schedules and moods. Without you, we would not be here today. Most importantly, we must acknowledge and give thanks to our respective faith systems, as many of us can agree that it may have taken some miracle for us to get to this point. While the future may hold many more changes, there are some things that we must maintain throughout our careers. We must be accountable for everything that we do and be prepared to devote our professional energies not only to our patients' needs, but also to the unmet health needs of our society as a whole. We must never stop trying to do better. Better for ourselves, for our patients, and for future generations. The time has come for each and every one of us here today to step up and be the type of leaders that our Twin Island Republic deserves. Honesty, humility, and integrity are, in my opinion, the core foundational qualities of a true leader. I truly believe this is how we should aim to develop ourselves. And just like a healthy diet, I believe that this challenge is a lifestyle choice. One good deed at a time, or one simple act embodying the highlighted qualities, is how we would all play a part in bettering our country. Class of 2018, it has been my privilege and honor addressing you today. Congratulations once again. Thank you.
As we come to the end of your graduation ceremony, I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that the university registrar, Mr. William Eiton, who served first as campus registrar at St. Augustine and then served as the university's registrar in Mona, would be retiring before the next graduation season. So this is his last graduation at St. Augustine, where he served for so many years. I'd like you to give him a round of applause in thanks for his service to the university. If the graduating class of 2018 will stand up, there's one last thing. The honorary graduate, if you could stand up, graduating class, the honorary graduate addressed it, but I found that you all were not as lustful about it as I would expect. And he spoke about the importance of your parents, your friends, your supporters, your loved ones, and the difference that they made to your journey, and the fact that most of you all would not have been here if it was not for their support. And a lot of them are in the hall today, and I would like you to turn and face them and give them a round of applause for everything they did for you over all these years. Every time I complete one of these ceremonies, I get a sense of confidence that our region and our nation is going to be in safe hands with you guys. This brings to a close the public ceremony by which the University of the West Indies has signaled the award of degrees, diplomas, and certificates to its graduates. The company will now disperse, but not before permitting me to escort the specially invited guests and allowing the procession to lead. Thank you, and have a wonderful life.